What's up, gamers? Big T here, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about a kind of long story, if you will, having to do with a specific game that I was looking forward to all the way up until its release. And that game is called Starfox Adventures. Well, that's what it became, but before that, it was called Dinosaur Planet. Now, over the years, the game has kind of gotten a reputation of not being as stellar as maybe people thought about at the time it came out. I've had time to reflect on it. I mean, honestly, from the beginning, I wasn't a huge fan of this game, but obviously there's Starfox characters in it, and I was looking forward to it for forever, like I said. And it's basically kind of a Starfox adventure game with a kind of Zelda kind of gameplay style and setup and whatnot, but very different from Starfox games. But as most of us know, as probably all of us know, the game didn't initially start off as a Starfox game. It was just another new IP coming from those wizards at Rare, who were just, dropping bangers after bangers since, Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo into the N64 with great titles, much anticipated titles, some of the best games on the N64, as you all may know. So once it became Starfox Adventures, once it became a Starfox kind of spin-off title, it lost a bit of its luster for me. I was still curious about it, but let's kind of get into why I thought it wasn't, it just wasn't fair. Maybe it just wasn't fair how it, eventually got judged. Because I don't think the gameplay or whatnot of the game itself really changed all that much. There were some major things that happened in the game that I didn't like, coming from Dinosaur Planet over to Starfox Adventures. One being the ability to go back and forth between the two main characters. So the original two main characters of the game were Crystal and Saber. Saber is probably a name that Rare came up with because of Saber Wolf back in the day, and that character kind of went on to try to be in other games, but they just kind of kept switching, the Rare way. But Saber was a wolf character that was supposed to be the main character of the game. And I believe Miyamoto got hold of it, and he thought, why not make this Starfox? And that's kind of where it all went down. Nintendo pushed for it to be a Starfox game, and so Rare, being a second-party company, being mostly owned by Nintendo, went ahead and, did their wishes. But I have a feeling that that's not what they really wanted to do. They just kind of had to do it. I don't know this. There's no information really on it. I think actually the guys who made the game kind of said opposite of that. But that's just kind of my feeling. When you're working on something original, you want it to stay original. And I believe that, based on the game itself, there was some shoehorning going on. So here it is. Starfox Adventures for the GameCube. The last game made by Rare. Came out on the GameCube. The game was originally being made for the N64, but it ended up on the GameCube, and it was their last game, and it felt rushed in many ways to me, with some of the kind of especially the combat. The combat really feels kind of not finished as far as how the hit detection goes and all that, and just the battle system itself. It seems pretty dry, if you will. But also the design of the, main gameplay aesthetics, like I said, the Zelda kind of take isn't anywhere near as being as kind of clever and cool puzzles and dungeons and memorable boss battles and stuff like that you would get in a Zelda game. So that's just, the hard part is that it was always going to be compared to Zelda because, it was Rare's take on Zelda, much like Banjo-Kazooie was Rare's take on Super Mario 64. And Rare did that. They did that with Diddy Kong Racing as well. It was their take on Mario Kart. So it was kind of what they always did. And so this was their Zelda game, which made me super excited because their Mario 64 game, Banjo-Kazooie, was fantastic. And so, and you could probably say Jet Force Gemini was their Metroid game. And I think there were some rumors about it actually starting off as the Metroid game. I'll have to look that up again and maybe do a video on that. But yeah, so it just wasn't ever going to be fair once this game came out at any point in time. But like I said, I was following the original Dinosaur Planet from the beginning. I remember screenshots and Nintendo Power, because that's what happened. That happened with Conquer as well, when it was Conquer 64, or 12 Tales Conquer 64, where it was going to be a completely different game. It's going to be more like Banjo-Kazooie. I would always get super excited because I love Rare and what they were doing on the Super Nintendo, as well as N64 for sure. N64 being my favorite console. So I was like, squeezing every ounce of information out of anything that came out for it. And I followed Dinosaur Planet, very thoroughly. Like, it was one of the games I was really anticipating to come out from my N64. It was going to be like kind of one of those swan song games. And I was looking forward to it. And I was a little bummed that it got pushed to the GameCube, but I was also excited because one of the best things about this game is the visuals. It is amazing. The fur on Fox, the grass, 60 frames per second, so smooth. It still looks really good, especially if you have like the HDMI converter. It looks fantastic, or the component cable basically coming out of the component port for the GameCube. It looks fantastic. So that's one of the best things about this game. It looks way better than any N64 version would have looked. But speaking of the N64 version, as you guys probably know, the original assets, the original game for the N64, Dinosaur Planet, leaked. And subsequently, a lot of people got their hands on it. And I'm sitting around thinking, man, this is great. This is a great time to be alive. Because this happens a lot. You get ROM hacks for N64 games. Some of them are really good. But you also get leaks of games that didn't release. One being, what's the name of the game? I can't think of it now. 40 Winks. 40 Winks came out, and that was another game I was anticipating. I remember seeing it on a VHS promo for the N64, and I was getting really excited for that game. It never came out. Ended up getting the PlayStation version, and I barely played it because that's not where I wanted to play it. This is a game that needed to be played on the N64 as a 3D platformer or a 3D action platformer game. So I was very excited that that game got released recently, and I definitely got my copy of that. Beautiful. And then that was kind of what I wanted for Dinosaur Planet. Now, it isn't complete. There are some issues with it, like game crashing, game ending issues. But there are ways to avoid it if you follow tutorials and whatnot online to avoid the game crashing bugs. I'm not sure if it could be beat. I believe it can be. And I know there are fans that are working on completing this game. So at some point there's going to be a version that's complete. But when I saw this online, I was like, I have to get this. And so I saw that somebody had put out a cart for Dinosaur Planet, basically the leaked game. And most of the assets are here. I think around it's 94 or so percent, I believe I saw somewhere. And so it's mostly here. So if you look at the artwork, it is fantastic as well. This is the original artwork that Rare was showing it off in Nintendo Power, and they managed to make a label for it here. And like I said, you start the game, it starts fine. I haven't had a problem with it so far. I haven't played that much through it, and I've seen some people play through it. And so I know it looks and feels like a full game. Sans the crashing, certain areas aren't finished, stuff like that. But I had to get this because this is what I always wanted. I wanted this N64 cart. I wanted to be able to play this game on the N64, and it never happened. So this is my kind of chance to do so. And my being able to add this to my N64 library is freaking fantastic, right? So, but it is very similar. I mean, I've played Starfox or Starfox Adventures. I beat it twice, and so I remember it mostly. But like I said, the game doesn't have a lot of memorable things in it as far as like boss battles and locations, as far as dungeons and whatnot. I can remember a few, but having beaten it twice, I don't remember a whole lot. But I remember the opening for sure, and I remember Thorntail, which is the main hub area, big time. And so playing through Dinosaur Planet, the opening for the original game, it is very similar. You start off with Crystal. You're in the back of this kind of pterodactyl thing. You're doing you're basically doing your what is it called? Panzer Dragoon thing on the back of this pterodactyl, like I said, attacking the ship. And you come up and you meet General Scales, and it's very similar. Where the difference is on Starfox Adventures, once you get to you basically swap to Fox. That's it. You're with Fox until the end of the game. You're basically on a mission to save Crystal. But in the original game, you're supposed to be able to jump back and forth between Crystal and Saber. And Saber being a big part of the game as well. And that's basically a Star Fox character. But Crystal is also a huge part of this game. She's not a secondary character in the original version. So those are going to be some pretty big differences that I'm looking forward to checking out. Because that was one of the things I was excited about, the mechanic of going back and forth between those two characters, and I was really excited to have that happen, and it got snatched away from me because like I said, Rare got acquired by Microsoft. But even before that, Nintendo had decided that they wanted it to be a Star Fox game, so we were going to lose a lot of that Crystal stuff anyway. So it's going to be great to finally have that. But then I also came upon this beaut, which is a fan-made, or a I mean, you have to be a fan, I would think, to want to do this, or just a businessman, opportunist. A full-on box, and this again is the artwork, and it looks great. This is like made by somebody manufactured this box on their own, printed it out, cut it up, and all that. And it's a full-on box, and it has all the artwork, has a description and whatnot in the back. I mean, this is fantastic. It even has like official Nintendo Power Player's Guide, which does not exist, but they went to the detail of putting that. Let me see if I can get it to focus here. I'm getting that put on the back, and this is just great. So I have the original game as it was intended to be, and then the box art for it as well. And like I said, my initial impressions of the game are great. Like I would have I'm sure my mind would have been blown on playing this game on the N64 because it looks great with the lighting, just the atmosphere of the graphics and all that. Rare just got better and better at pushing that N64 hardware, and it runs relatively smooth even for an quote-unquote unfinished game. Now, I believe you can beat it, like I said, but you have to avoid certain areas in the game so it doesn't crash, certain unfinished areas or something like that. But the thing is, when it does actually get finished, I'm sure there'll be another kind of push out of this game by sellers, repro guys online, and I'll definitely get the finished version, and I'll just pop it in here. There's also other ways to play this game on the original hardware. You can download it using one of those 64 carts, those where you can put a bunch of stuff on, a bunch of games on, or you can play unfinished games. I forget what they're called. You can also do that as well. But I wanted to have that full-on, original, had it released on N64 experience. So I'm very excited about this. My initial impressions are great. Feels great, and it's funny how close it actually feels, especially like the combat and stuff. Sound effects are another thing. Sound very similar to Star Fox Adventures, the game we actually ended up getting. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I believe Fox is still in this version of the game. There are modders that found Saber's original character model, and so people have been putting it in those versions and whatnot. But I think he's still talked to and referred to as Fox. Maybe they'll change that at some point and make him Saber again in this version. But right now you have the character model of Star Fox, I believe, in this version still, which is sucks. But like I said, when it's all done, when the fans do their thing and finish, I'll definitely cop that version to get that to get the original feel of the game. But yeah, man, like I said, this is really cool. It was a great time to be a gamer collector because all these things are happening. Like I said, the cool thing with 40 Winks being finally released. And there's other games as well, and also the mod scene as far as fan games, using the original assets and whatnot. There's some really cool Banjo-Kazooie ones. There's some really cool Zelda ones, mods and whatnot, and it's just really cool that they have all these things. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm so happy, like I said, to have these. It cost me a pretty dime, a pretty penny, to buy both of these. But to be able to display this, the originals, man, this is great. This is a great time that we live in as gamers. So we should all enjoy it. So yeah, that's it for my video here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll see you fools next time. Peace out.